What's up, everyone? This is Gao de Boxeo. First ever visual based video. All my previous videos were done with audio only in mind, so open to feedback and suggestions using this approach. Whether it's with the lighting, vocal projection, or the camera angle, shoot me a comment. Anything to help me out would be greatly appreciated so I can make great content for you lovely viewers. No surprise about this video. I'm a boxing fan, like anyone watching this video, and I want to give my take on the last big match of the year, the heavyweight rematch between Oleksandr Usyk from the Ukraine, 22-0, versus Tyson Fury, 34-1 from the UK. This matchup is a rematch of the May 2024 bout between them for the Undisputed Heavyweight Championship. This bout is happening pretty much today, December 21st, 2024, and it's almost for all the marbles. We have the WBA, WBO, WBC, and IBO heavyweight championships, along with the Ring Magazine Heavyweight Championship. As you recall, Usyk vacated the IBF belt in June 2024, which is now being held by the UK's Daniel Dubois. So in short, this is the rematch between Usyk and Fury, and more or less will determine who's still at the top of the tree in the heavyweight division. So right off the bat, my verdict: Oleksandr Usyk by unanimous decision or late TKO between round 10 and 12. And here's why I'm saying that. The first bout revealed some truths, as every bout does. First one, both fighters are able to hurt each other. Usyk got hurt in round 5 in the first fight. Fury got hurt in round 9. So they both have that confidence to know that their punches can stun the other. The second one is the mental aspect. Usyk is by far been the more consistent of the two in terms of mental fortitude. We've seen this since probably the third Chisora fight when they confronted each other, and Fury and the world saw that Usyk was just a different animal. Fury, pretty much up to this point, has been very proud of winning the mental games with his opponents, whether he out-talks them or continuously plays into their mind with what he says. Usyk was the exception, as we saw. Usyk was having none of his antics, and as Fury came to realize that, you could see that coupled with the fact that Fury did see Usyk as a legitimate threat pre-fight, I think threw off Fury in a mental aspect. Excuse me. So between the two, Usyk has just shown a level of focus and determination in all of his bouts that I've watched him. I've seen his 22 professional bouts. I've seen his Olympic and World Championship bouts in the amateurs. And just the smart money is on Usyk in the term of the mental game. Because as any athlete will tell you, the mental game can make or break you. You can be the best in the world in terms of shape and technique, but if your mental game is not in sync come game day, or in this case fight night, that can very well cost you the event. So I do feel Usyk just has a one-up on that end. The other thing is that Usyk has the knowledge and the confidence that he can beat Fury. He has done it once, and he can do it again. And I think he's good enough to do it again. What's interesting in this bout is the different approach as expected with Fury's camp. The first one is the body weight. Fury has gone up in weight. I'm not sure, again, it's noticeably more. I think it's like 30 pounds at least. And I think the reason why is because the camp has accepted that Fury will not win boxing Usyk. Again, not just the accolades of Usyk show this, but just the technical style and execution that Usyk has shown up until 2024. He comes from the Ukrainian boxing school, which in turn is connected with the Soviet boxing school system. And if you look at fighters from Ukraine, Russia, Uzbekistan, Azerbaijan, Kazakhstan, it's a style that's very big on straight punches, using footwork, lateral and in and out, pendulum based in and out footwork, and also collecting points to impress judges from a technical standpoint. And this is why you've seen so many of them be very successful, not just in the amateurs, but also in the paid ranks. And as such, and the schooling too does not just stop there. It's also many of these elite level ex USSR boxers are so good at fighting outside of their zip code. You There's a difference between, for example, seeing Vasil Lomachenko fight in Australia than, say, if Canelo Alvarez fought in Australia. Do I think Alvarez would do a good job around the world? Yes. But between those two, we've seen one guy's actually gone around the world and fought the the best in the world. And it's because from the amateurs, most of these boxers have 300 plus fights on them, and if they fought past the national level, they fought around the world. So they're aware of time zone differences, climate changes, prepping themselves physically and mentally for those changes. So Usyk, on paper, has a better foundation than Fury does, and arguably every boxer he's come across. So I believe the camp has realized that for Fury, that he's going to have to take the fight to him, because one thing I've always said with ex-USSR boxers, the best way to fight them, far easier said than done, is to have three qualities. The first one is the acceptance that you're going to get hit. These boxers from that part of the world are very technical and throw enough punches that they are going to hit you in the face, in the body, wherever's legal. It's going to happen no matter how good you are. So acceptance of that is very important. The next one is the ability, the resilience to take what is given. When you read about a lot of the ex-USSR boxers in interviews, you soon learn that a lot of coaches don't say they're the hardest punchers that they've ever taught, but almost all of them say they're among the most accurate. John David Jackson said that with Kovalev. It was said about Beterbiev. Like Oleksandr Usyk said that Adonis Stevenson hit harder than Artur Beterbiev, but it's the technical aspect, the controlled aggression, the intelligence that they bring to the ring that is often more than enough to handle what the rest of the world brings them. And so you can see that, like, having the acceptance and the resilience to handle that schooling, that accuracy that these fighters will bring is absolutely important. And the third point is the ability to continue applying pressure. Because most of these boxers are very big on keeping the distance, and sometimes almost engaging in fencing based matches, their biggest struggle comes from somebody that's able to take their punches, accepts that they're going to take their punches, and applies that pressure. And with Usyk, you see that in three particular cases. The first one would probably be in the amateurs, the two bouts with Artur Beterbiev, who exemplified those three qualities that I just explained. And you saw those two fights, Usyk actually had to work for those wins, and I believe he got stunned in the was it the World Championship bout? Correct me if I'm wrong. You saw that there. In the professional ranks, you saw Myris Bradis in the World Boxing Super Series Cruiserweight tournament take it to Usyk because he had those three qualities: acceptance, resilience, and pressure. And then in the heavyweight bout with Derek Chisora during the pandemic, you saw that in the early rounds: acceptance, resilience, and pressure. And it was paying off for Chisora in the earlier rounds. I think the Fury camp has seen this, and they're trying to emulate a style that will complement that. So giving Fury more punching power and also a chance to, I believe, replicating the style that he was using with Deontay Wilder of putting his weight on the opponent to try to tire him out and doing more dirty boxing on the inside to flummox Usyk. Although this is where I think Usyk may have an advantage because Usyk, as I said, is a very intelligent fighter and being able to adapt and be resilient to what is thrown to him in the heat of the moment. He's proven it, 22 and 0. And I think they're aware that A, Fury has the ability to hurt him, as he's shown in round five. And with the added weight, the punching power is probably going to go up. And then two, they're they're expecting Fury to come at him in a more aggressive manner this time. But where I think Usyk will pull it off is because there's a bout in 2009 or 2009 between Nikolai Valuev and David Haye, which I think this bout may very well emulate, where the bigger guy, in that case Valuev, came in much heavier and was relying on power to try to put David Haye away. But the smaller guy, Haye, used his technical ability, his footwork, to pot shot his way to decision. If you recall, almost stunned Valuev legitimately in the final round from the accumulation of punches. I think this is a possible approach to this fight because Usyk is good enough to do that. He is good enough to keep away for 12 rounds and use his footwork and technical ability to keep Fury away, as well as being busy enough to collect points. He may not be throwing the hardest punches to the body, to the head, and changing it up like he's so good at doing, but he's enough to show judges that I'm busier. I'm busier and I can still hit Fury, even if I may not be hitting him as much in this fight, because I have to be aware of what Fury is bringing to the table in terms of punching power and aggression. I also think that Usyk is is good at keeping Fury off him. If you saw in that first fight, there's videos on it on YouTube where Usyk used leverage and positioning of his arms to keep Fury from grabbing him and smothering him, and did a fantastic job of that. Now the question is, can he do it with a heavier Fury? That will be one of the questions that will be answered in this bout. But I ultimately think that even with the new game plan and potentially, because again, Fury, the fascinating thing about Fury, fascinating, frustrating thing is his mental game because sometimes you think he's hyper focused and sometimes you think he's not all there when he's fighting. You can see it throughout his 35 plus bouts that some bout performances are better than others. His greatest performances are brilliant, but then you see some performances that make you wonder, why is he so highly rated? And so again, it's that consistency of Usyk on a mental level, and then the confidence and the reality that he's already beaten Fury. And I believe the ability that he's able to adapt and handle what Fury can give him is what's going to give him the W in this match from at least an objective or more objective standpoint. And the reason why I say that is because I do have a personal hesitancy with the judging, because we've been hearing in interviews that Turki Al Sheikh is favoring Fury, and he's been very outspoken about a trilogy, and that makes me wonder what will happen there. Like if his influence or his preferences will have any say in this bout, if should this bout especially go to a distance. And we kind of saw that with the controversial ending to Dmitry Bivol and Artur Beterbiev not too long ago, because I personally think Bivol won that fight from a technical standpoint within the 12 rounds. But if that was a 15 round fight, Beterbiev I think would have stopped him. Like, if that's what I honestly thought about that fight, and we saw the decision go to Beterbiev. And I think there's some factors there that could be the case, because one is, boxing's a business. So if a bout is perceived close, I'm sure, I'm sure some of these judges are being told, if not outright paid off, to say, look, if it's close, make the scoring close so we can make more money off these two fighters. I mean, we saw it with Fury Wilder won. I thought Fury won, and we saw a draw, which I think was nonsense. But we saw two other fights come out of it because that's business. And then also going back to the Better Bevo fight, you could argue in that one there might have been some political influence because I believe at ringside the Chechen president, was his name, Razman Kadyrov, was at ringside. And I try not to think this way, but you wonder if these things play an aspect in decision making too. So coming back to Fury and Usyk, I I don't want to lie to you all and say I'm fully convinced that the judges will be 100% accurate on this fight. We saw it in the first fight too. Like, I mean, again, if it weren't for that knockdown, it looked like Fury was going to win that on points, and that in itself would have been controversial for many people. So ultimately, again, my verdict stands: Oleksandr Usyk by unanimous decision or late TKO, round 10 and 12. I do believe if Usyk wants to end this series, he needs to finish Fury, because if it does go to decision, I'm not too sure. I'm not too sure, given how business of boxing works. But I'm confident he's the smarter choice, and I do feel that he is good enough to pull it off. So that's my analysis. Thank you for listening. I will be following up with a post-fight analysis. Feel free to comment. I am open to opinions, debates, feedbacks. I love hearing other perspectives, and I accept that this is a multi-way street. If I can't take, why am I giving? So open to everything. Hope you enjoyed this video, and hope you enjoy the upcoming fight. Talk soon.